Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new Doctor Who video where today I'm discussing the news, the rumours at least, that the Doctor Who animation range, the classic series animations, may well be coming to an end. So yes, this is something that I've seen rumoured in various places on forums and the likes for a while. And it's the suggestion that BBC America, who are the kind of main partner who funds the classic series animation since 2016, they've been always putting in the money to make those happen. They are reportedly pulling out after the last upcoming animation, The Abominable Snowmen, which has been released somewhere in probably the first half of this year. And there's been a report today in the Daily Mirror that they're simply pulling their funding. Doesn't exactly explain why, but they're pulling out. They decided that they don't want to, collaborate on it anymore and put any more money into these releases. Now, yes, this is a tabloid newspaper, so we should always take it with a pinch of salt, but it has been reported for several months on, other sort of leaks and forums and the likes, and the person behind the report in the Daily Mirror is also renowned for actually getting Doctor Who things right. She correctly predicted the Evil of the Daleks animation, Abominable Snowmen, and Galaxy 4. Months, I think like a year in advance on all of those. So she's clearly got some sort of internal source at the BBC and in BBC Studios somewhere with the Doctor Who animation range, which I think means we need to look at this as probably being true. But of course, because BBC America are pulling out, that doesn't automatically mean there's never going to be any more animated Doctor Who. So firstly, let's look at just quickly what we've seen in terms of animated Doctor Who in the past. Of course, we had the kind of first batch of animated episodes back in the DVD days, originally with The Invasion in 2006, and then over The Reign of Terror, The 10th Planet, The Moon Base, The Ice Warriors in 2013 and 2014. That was sort of a little batch of those there, which were all funded purely through the DVD range at the time, where there was money available from BBC Worldwide, who were producing all the DVDs. If there was the money available to animate a couple of episodes, then they would do that on selected classic stories. And so that's why at the time we got some of these completed classic stories that, had one or two episodes missing, but never, looking at full stories. Then, rather surprisingly, in 2016, after the DVD range has seemingly died, its death, it was gone, Doctor Who on physical media was done, suddenly it came back again. The Power of the Daleks was animated for DVD and Blu-ray back in 2016. This was the beginning of the collaboration between BBC Studios, as they were now called, and BBC America, who were sort of co-funding each of these animated releases. And so we saw the same thing happening with the first Power of the Daleks in 2016, then Shada in 2017, then the Macra Terror in 2019, the Faceless Ones and Fear from the Deep in 2020, and then Web of Fear, Evil of the Daleks, and Galaxy 4 came last year, 2021. I still think we're in it. So that was the several animations, quite a significant amount of animations that they were a part of in funding. It was a big change from what we'd seen in the previous set of animations, where you suddenly were doing full stories, 6, even 7-part stories with Evil of the Daleks, doing colour versions of these animations as well. So it was a real step up in the quality of animation, the determination, dedication to doing it. And we've seen fairly regular releases, even through the pandemic, over the last 5 years. But now with the final, what seems to be the final release, The Abominable Snowmen, which was announced late last year for a release at some point, probably in the first half of this year, maybe around May or June time. That appears, for all intents and purposes, to be, at the moment, the final animated Doctor Who story to be released. We know there's still, quite a few left that haven't been done yet. Classics like the Dalek Master Plan are still, sitting out there, and Marco Polo and the likes are still, without any sort of animation. And it now, in some ways, looks less likely that could be happening because BBC America, for whatever reason, have chosen to pull out their funding. Part of the reason BBC America also put in the funding was so that they could then air these stories on their, exclusive channel in America before the physical media releases. I know they recently showed Evil of the Daleks, I think in the run-up to Doctor Who Flux, or maybe it was around the New Year's Day special, but they showed that whole story on their channel, presumably trying, drum up a bit of press and promotion for the show, but also to make a bit of money for themselves, because BBC America is a pay TV channel in the States. But for whatever reason, and we don't know why, it could be to do with the pandemic, lack of money, maybe they're not making enough money off doing these anymore, it just hasn't become, cost effective to continue with these animations. They've decided that, well, according to these rumours, that that's not what they want to do, and so it seems like we're just simply not going to get any more animations in the future. Now, there are possibilities, there's options. I don't think the BBC Studios are just going to sit here and go, oh, well, BBC America pulled out, so we're going to give up on making animated Doctor Who. No one's interested, let's not bother. Because because clearly the sales figures have generally been pretty good. We've seen over a 5-year period they've produced 8, 9, 10 animated stories, so it's not like these were selling terribly and nobody was interested in them. Like, they've been doing well, they've been really popular. We've seen them on the top of Amazon DVD and video and Blu-ray charts and things like that. It's small metrics, but it gives some indication that there is certainly a popularity and a dedicated fan base to these stories and to the animation range. And so that's why I'd kind of expect that BBC Studios may well look for an alternative partner. Now, the most obvious partner that people have discussed would probably be something like BritBox, the sort of BBC and ITV streaming service, basically £5.99, I think £6 a month or something, streaming service to rival Netflix that just has all the BBC and ITV dramas and the like on it, basically, with a bit of Channel 4 and Channel 5 stuff as well. I think it started over in the United States several years ago, but more recently, in the last 2 or 3 years, has come to the UK and has been, growing. It's been the only place to access all of classic Doctor Who on a streaming service for the last, I think, couple of years now as well. So it seems like the obvious place really to seek some funding. BritBox does original programming, so they clearly have, money to spend on commissioning different programs and things from there. And so I feel like that would be an obvious first place for BBC Studios to go to, particularly as right back in the day with Power of the Daleks. I think that was also done in conjunction with the BBC Shop, which was kind of sort of precursor to BritBox. It was a sort of iTunes video store type thing for the BBC, basically. And, they realised pretty quickly that it wasn't, really working because people just weren't interested in buying digital-only copies of stuff, individually. They expect to get it as part of a streaming package. I'm not going to pay to own a digital version of, individual classic Doctor Who stories. I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to buy the DVD or I'm going to watch it on BritBox on the streaming service. So that quickly, went away. I think it was BBC Store, BBC Shop, one of those two it was called. And that then led to BritBox. And so I feel like it's logical for them to at least look into the possibility of, BritBox funding some of these animations in the years to come. Certainly there's animation teams and people involved who are very interested in doing that. We know Charles Norton used to be the executive producer of the animation range. And I think, I believe it's Russell Minton who also oversees the collection range, is now more involved in the animation range as well. There's production, animation teams, Sun and Moon Studios, various different Big Finish Creative, various different ones through the years who have worked on the different animations, even Shapeshifter Studios, who did the Web of Fear, slightly dodgy animation. They still were involved. So there's people out there who want to do it. They just need to find the money to do it, basically. And I do think that it would be pretty terrible timing if it does all fall apart now, just in time for the 60th anniversary year, where it would be a very obvious thing to animate, say, Marco Polo, to celebrate, the first Doctor, the start of the show, by having, that special animation for the 60th anniversary. So I think that would be a real shame if it falls out that way. We've got no indication of that so far. I think probably the biggest concern is that if there is, no new funding source in place, then that means that no new animations are going to get commissioned or started work on. And we know that certainly it takes a minimum of a year to put together one of these animations. I think Eve of the Daleks, they spent basically 18 months working on that. And so if you currently have nobody involved and, no one commissioned and working on a new animation, then immediately from, if they found somebody tomorrow, that puts us to the middle of next year, middle of 2023. So if it takes them, half of this year, the whole of this year to negotiate some sort of funding deal with BritBox or another company, or I don't know, then it seems unlikely we're going to get anything in time for 2023 and the anniversary. But I do just feel that would be a shame and a missed opportunity. And I think fundamentally it would be a really big shame if this was the end of the animation range. It feels like we've really reached and, got into a stride. The animations have been improving with each one we've seen. I think probably Eve of the Daleks was kind of the pinnacle of the animation range that we've seen so far, right back to the invasion in 2006 to now. That, Eve of the Daleks is kind of the gold standard. And I feel like we were only going in the right direction from there. And, we've still got lots of great stories, as I say, like Marco Polo, like Dalek Master Plan, like The Massacre, The Mythmakers. Sure, some of the less good ones, like The Space Pirates, but, there's some good stories in there, and I just feel like it'd be such a shame to lose that opportunity. It would then present the same questions for the team who work on the collection Blu-ray range as to what they're going to do when they get to the black and white seasons. I know they've always talked about not holding them back to the very end of the range, and so I think it was always inevitable that there would be some, stories that would only have a reconstruction or the audio based on them, but I think we're going to have even more of those now if it just simply isn't the case. The animations are going to continue. Where just, a year or two ago, when suddenly we were getting loads of animations, there were multiple, animation teams working on them. It seemed like the future was so bright for getting the rest of missing classic Doctor Who animated. And now, it feels like we're in limbo. We've got really no idea where this is going to go. And unfortunately, the nature of it is that probably nobody's going to come out and officially say anything about it. And, the BBC aren't going to put out a statement saying, yes, we've split with BBC America. No, there's not going to be any more, animations, or maybe there will be in the future. We don't know. Then they're just not going to do that. I don't think that's the way they would go down. Maybe if they got a new partner, they might, announce that they've moved from BBC America to BritBox or whoever else. But I do just feel like we're going to, unfortunately, end up in a bit of a limbo with Abominable Snowman happening and, seemingly nothing else to come. But yes, guys, please let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on these rumours, this news about the possible end of the animation range, or at least it being, put on hiatus for a while, shall we say. We've had that phrase a lot in the past, haven't we? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, where if you've got any, alternative funding plans, or happen to be a multi-millionaire Doctor Who fan, then, let me know and we'll hit up the BBC and see if we can get some funding in. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below about any of this news. But apart from that, guys, that's just about it for this video. As always, please do hit that like button and that subscribe button if you're new here. And of course, I should just mention I do a podcast called Kavam, which you might well see on this YouTube channel, or you can hear on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Kavam is a podcast where we chat all about the DVDs and the Blu-rays of Doctor Who. So, our next edition, which will be coming next week, we'll be discussing season 17, but also there'll be a big discussion about the animation range, the future of it, where we're going from here. So if you haven't already, please do go and, subscribe on your podcast service to Kavam, or search Doctor Who Kavam, or just here on my YouTube channel, and you can check out our latest thoughts on all of the Doctor Who DVDs and Blu-rays being released, stuff from the past, stuff from the future, and all of that. We're always chatting about that. But yeah, that's about it from this video, guys. So until another one, I will see you again very, very soon. But for now, it's goodbye.